Anyways, let's get to the top 20. JW, just give us your thoughts, a little bit of a rundown. Tommy Paul, obviously played great. I think his upward trajectory consistently has built himself into just a really, really good, complete tennis player. It felt like the last 6 months of the year, he was fighting something and it was hurt, and then something else was hurt, and it kind of became, at least it felt like, a little bit of chicken or the egg. I think all we hope for him next year is to get a clean run of health. This is someone who's been in the last 4 of a Grand Slam. Well-rounded player, super smart, great athlete. 20, you can't really say, it doesn't feel like a backtrack. I think a lot of, I guess, his ranking regression is because of health, right?
So yeah, it's exactly what you said. I think there was an adductor injury during the clay, and then there was another injury at Wimbledon. And you've said this before, and I think it's a point that we don't make enough, that when you're a little bit dinged up, there are these compensatory injuries,
Yes.
and you end up, aggravating an ankle because you're changing your weight and your threshold on your knee. I think there might be some of that. Yeah, I mean, Tommy Paul, fine player, nice first half of the year. Then the injury started, and it really, I think, he ends up at number 20, but that's not really a reflection of where he is, and you hope he's just rested and ready to go in 2026.
And he's one of those guys you look at and watch. He's made the semis of Australia. He won the Junior French Open. He made the semis of Rome, I think, this year before it started going downhill. He's won Queen's Club. So well-versed on every surface. As good a transition game in tennis this side of Alcaraz, right? His ability to kind of take time away, kind of use his volleys, use his quickness, use his athleticism. I always really enjoy watching Tommy Paul problem solve, and I hope TP is healthy this upcoming year, and hopefully we'll talk more about his tennis than his injuries in next year. I'm curious to hear your take and where you stand on Jakub Mensik, who finishes 19 in the world this year. Obviously, the result, Miami, accounts for almost half of his points for the entire year. He was between 40 and 50 going into Miami. Obviously puts 1,000 on the board. That changes a lot. Rest of the year around 15. I think we expected him to kind of use that as like gasoline for the fire. If you take that result out, ranking says he's still 40 or 50. And I know it's a hypothetical. You can't take away people's best result. I understand it. Is he a guy who's 40, JW, or is he a guy who's 10?
Oh, and there's nothing in between. He's a guy who's 20 years old. So let's let him sort of ease into this and reveal a little more of himself with each year. Yeah, I mean, I think there was one standout result in that Miami tournament. Again, the guy stared down Novak in the final. And I think we all said, oh my gosh, here comes another star, and more of these. This Czech conveyor belt continues to do its thing. This country of 10 million people and a pretty rotten tennis climate keeps pumping out players. And then here comes this big, tall kid. I got to know him a little bit at Wimbledon. Steve Weissman and I talked to him a few times, and he taught himself to play drums during COVID. There's a real sort of likability to him, but the results really tailed off. And we see this. I mean, we see this. Part of being a professional tennis player is pacing yourself. And you get the feeling he just sort of ran out of steam a little. So nothing that even came close to replicating that Miami result. At the same time, we knew his name. This was a nice player.
Mm-hmm.
He'd played in the Gen, I keep calling it Gen X,
yeah.
The next gen. I don't know. I mean, is he a top 10 player? I think so. I mean, I'm not sure this guy's winning
he will
majors.
be. There's time, but it's just getting...
Yeah, there's time. He's 20 years old. So.
Yeah, I won in Miami. His first serve was like alarmingly good, right? Like the tail he was getting on it. I mean, the stats he was putting up, a little hit or miss. I got to think they're working on whether it's footwork based or whatever it is. It seems like the air counts run a little high with Mensik, right? And you can be streaky, but streaky goes both ways. Like, you're streaky and get through a game, you still have just won one game. You're streaky the other way and you're down love 30 or love 40, right? He still has that kind of early miss type thing where all of a sudden, for no reason at all, you're serving out of trouble at love 30. Qualifier at the US Open loss. I mean, there are some losses where you figure, okay, with another year of maturity, you got to get through those ugly days, right? And that's what the top players do so well, right? We'll get to the Zverevs and the Medvedevs later in the show, but what they do is they can take way less than the best we've ever seen them, survive, advance, and then all of a sudden they're in like a quarterfinal. I think that's the next progression for someone like Mensik, is just finding that consistency and finding a way to where if your game's in the gutter that day, let's start grabbing ankles and pulling your opponent into that gutter too, right? It doesn't have to look perfect, but let's find a way to play down. But Karen Khachanov, we know what he is. Here? Like in uber professional, has big results, feels like he's better in the best of 5 format than maybe the best of 3. But what are we seeing? I mean, if you kind of turn back the clock a year, you're going Khachanov finishes at 18. You're going, okay, yeah, let's like the plus minus is 5. There does that sound about right?
Yeah, I don't think he had nearly as good a year as he did in 2024. And you're right, this is someone who, he doesn't play as big as he is. He's had some great results in majors. And it seemed like, there were some flashes this year, and he got to the finals in Canada. I'm looking here. He played a lot of tennis. He played almost 60 matches, but it just, he is what he is, consummate professional. I'm not sure sort of what the ceiling is here. And now he's in his late 20s. I'd say he'd probably say this is a B minus B year. I mean, it wasn't a disaster, but I'm looking at these. I mean, there's no runaway results. He did not replicate his second round at the Open. This guy's been to the semis in the Open before. So at some level, I wonder if we're at the point now that we got a lot of data points on this guy, and he is what he is. He's a very nice player. He's a professional. He's liked by his colleagues. He'll make a deep run occasionally in a major. I don't know if this is someone who's going to threaten the Sinner Alcaraz duopoly that we'll get to, but one of these nice guys to be part of the cast.
I think my problem is when I'm looking at some of these players is like Khachanov is a great player. I don't know that he's someone that is going to randomly carry a night session that's televised during a second round at a tournament. Not a lot of holes in his game, serves big. I remember when he first came up, he took Rafa to 5 at the US Open, and I went, oh, what? Watch out. Like, this guy's upper 130s register. So we'll see. Is there still a lane where he can improve and have, another 2, 3, 4 year run? TBD. I don't know that there are any secrets now about his game. He's been around long enough to where, you're not scratching your head on where to be effective and what needs to happen in that matchup. But listen, the guys, one thing we'll never do on this show is point at someone 18 in the world who maybe underperformed their expectations and say, you know what?
You suck. Yeah, give it up.
The guy's a great player. I mean, he just is. Yuri Lehecka. So I'll tell you when I'm right. I had him going towards the top 10 this year. Didn't quite happen. Had a nice little run at Queen's Club. It's still someone that I just feel like when a top player sees him in the draw, doesn't want to play this guy. Like the eye test is big. Maybe we're just kind of defining what the difference is with these first 4 guys. The difference between 20 and 5 is doing it every week.
I think there's a bigger theme that I'm sure we'll hit, which is there are 2 guys who are head and shoulders above the rest of the field, and there are a lot of players like Lehecka who are very fine players. I think he's sort of still in the dangerous category. I mean, I'm not sure we're talking about a future major winner, but I think he's one of these any given day players. Sort of another player from this Czech system, and he didn't seem. I mean, he's one of these guys that we all sort of know about, and we all know what he can do on a given day. I'm not sure he's evolved out of this dangerous floater. I mean, in as much as a guy who's in the top 20 is a floater, but I don't think he's emerged from this kind of dangerous on a given day. But is he a threat to win big events? I'm not quite sure that's there yet.
Andrey Rublev had made World Tour finals every year for what felt like forever. 16 in the world. You show him that, he's going, you know what? That's probably a step backwards this year.
Yeah, we were waiting for the Murat Safin bump never came. Rublev plays an opponent, and he also plays against himself. We've talked about that. You hate to sort of it's 1 year. He did have a couple of nice results flecked in there. 28 years old. Is he going to get back in the top 10? What do you think?
I don't see why he can. I mean, he is capable of big results, right? I mean, the one thing I hope for him, because This whole thing, he's never been in the semis of a Grand Slam. I just don't want that leading the conversation when you start defining his career whenever it's over, right? So I do want him to make that run, make that last four in a Grand Slam event because of the respect that I have for him as a player, right? Is he imperfect emotionally? Sure. Who's not? We all are. Does he handle it perfectly? No. Can he rip your face off with both sides of the ball? Yep. Can he go full rip city, forehand and backhand? Yep. Do we want to see Safin go crazy? Yep.
We like this combo. No, I think just big picture, we talk sometimes the wheels come off. That is not this case. The guy won 34, 35 matches. He's still in the top 20. He's been at the upper echelon for a full decade now. I mean, this year did not meet his standards. I mean, he did not come anywhere close to even having this conversation about getting into to a semifinal because he didn't play particularly well at majors either. Remember the match against Fonseca to kick off his year in Australia, and you got the sense he sort of got to the end of that match and said, "Oh boy, here's someone else I'm going to deal with." But I still think the guy's a solid top 20 player. Let's not sort of lose sight of that.
Over under his current ranking next year at this time.
Health being the variable, I think. Given his advancing age, I think this is about. I don't know. I mean,
he's going to go higher.
I'm going March like 12 to 14. I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm taking the under on. He's going to be better than 16. I think a year from now. Yeah. I just do, and maybe that's just what I hope for because hopefully that means he made the semis
and stayed healthy.
Healthy, exactly, which I want for him. Speaking of health.